Welcome to Toss the Titles Down Under Dynasty with your hosts at Live from the Ben, and with me, as usual, my co-host at FF Doormat. How are you today, Matt?
Mate, I'm doing wonderfully well. As usual, I love that intro. How do you not dance that intro? That's great work you've done there, mate. That's get you moving, get you pumped up.
I'd like to thank Storybox for the info. It was free.
I thought you had the brass band out, mate. And you were cranking away the trumpet and the sax, and no,
I have no musical ability, zero. I don't have much Dynasty fantasy football ability based off this season. Anyway,
you're doing it right. Come on.
Here and there. What's been happening,
mate? What isn't happening is more the question. It's all over the shop. Week 6.
Week 6 already. Like it's just gone.
Hopkins is back. Almost half a season gone. Unbelievable. The vaunted 23 class is just around the corner.
Yeah, and I am positioning myself to get my fair share in most of my leagues. I think there's one league I've got 7 first, and another league I got 6.
Nice. Are you thinking of cashing anything out for some 24s? I did that in one league I was in. I had a stack, and I think I had 6, and I kept 4 or 5. I think I cashed 1 or 2 out. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's a good problem to have.
There's no urgency to do so.
No, you better wait, right?
Oh, look, if you get something that's a no-brainer, but I mean, some of these guys, they're really good players. If I was trading one of those picks, I'd want to know that it was going to be late. Like, you don't want to trade a pick in like a 23 first, and then it's enough that it makes that team good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I'm overthinking it.
Too. No, you can never overthink it. I think you never know what that might flip that pick to. Right, they might get that first and trade it for something else. And so yeah, there's no hurry, right? When it's just getting more money in your pocket, you're just accruing value, getting those dividends on your commodity almost. So yeah, you rub your hands together and enjoy it and get those gains.
Yeah, and I haven't done the same amount of research on the 24 draft that I have on the 23 draft. I'm not really super tuned into who's going to be available and who isn't. And with nil, right, now that we've in college, they've got that name, image, likeness going on, and they can make cash. The players might not come out at the same kind of rate that they used to.
You just don't know, right? Look at Eddie and big guns, the big guns. Look at Eddie, and yeah, we thought he was going to come out right with Swift and whatnot, and he stayed in, and then we're just saying he got injured as well. So you just don't know when these players are going to come out. I think Herbert as well probably proved to be a good decision, right? But he stayed in for an extra year, and so hopefully Bijan comes out for my 101 teams that I've got. But yeah, you never know the best of times. But when you're talking that sort of money, right, there's probably a chance of making a load. I mean, I guess they get their signing bonus if they're an early pick, so they're making a ton in NFL. But maybe the guys that are day 3, day 2, day 3 picks, that maybe they stay in a bit longer. Where your first rounders they're going to come out right for get that signing bonus. But yeah, if you're a bit deeper, maybe you stay in and try and move your stock up a bit and get the cash. So yeah, some unknowns.
Marquise Brown out 6 weeks now with that foot injury. Does DeAndre Hopkins just come back into that 30% target share, and does he smash? Or is he last year's DeAndre Hopkins?
Wide receiver 1 for the rest of the year. Purely saying that because I've got a share of DeAndre Hopkins on a team that you've got to start 3 wide receivers. and my wide receiver room is terrible, absolutely terrible. I think I'm 3-3 in that league somehow, and I've just been praying on his return. So it's just, you hate to celebrate any injuries, and I'm not, but it's just looking like it's turned out like a chef's kiss, right? Brown's out, and Hopkins can come back in and just dominate the snaps. And whether it happens or not, I don't know, but I'm certainly hoping it does for my Hopkins shares.
Yeah, I'm hoping it does too. I've only got one Dynasty Hopkins share, which I got from you in Console Wales in a trade that is looking like an absolute fucking smash for you.
No, it's a 50-50. I think it's worked well for both. You could win the league with that trade. You got Damien Harris, you got Hopkins.
Damien Harris.
Damien Harris. So you got Damien Harris. So if he comes back in healthy and towards the end of the year, like you can't judge it yet.
No. Look, and sometimes it looks like one side is winning a trade, and then that changes over the course of years, mate. Course of years.
You just don't know.
And then I've got another share in a keeper league where he's going to be very helpful with the buys coming up.
Yeah, I've only got that one share in that league, and yeah, it is a bit of self-interest. I'm saying that he's going to be a wide receiver one, but you certainly hope you can sell that story to yourself, right? That Marquise Brown was looking good, and I think Hopkins is a better player. It's just whether he's a fitter player. Hopefully he has the Julian Edelman effect of taking your good medicine and getting healthy, beasting out for the rest of the year. Bit of juice might be the difference. So wait and see.
I put Randall Cobb on here. I don't think we actually care, do we?
Third and Cobb. But yeah, not really.
Kenny Pickett concussion. I don't know. Like, who knows whether he's going to play or not? What do you reckon of Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, it's still early to say. I like the fact that Tomlin chucked him in this hard stretch. I know some people are like, oh well, you don't want to play him now because he's got such a tough draw, But I go, it's hard to say with that behind that line, right? Because there's not much of a line there. So hopefully he can learn about it, and they're a good organization, great coach. So I think hopefully he's fine long term, but didn't look good. Trubisky came in and looked pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like Trubisky was just letting it go more, right? Because he wasn't worried about losing the job anymore because he's already lost it.
Yeah. Just sling it.
And he just let loose. Like prior to that, it just he looked like someone who was playing to keep the job, just not to make mistakes and stuff. Yeah, he looked a lot better.
Yeah. Look, I think that's right, and I would just rest Pickett. I'd give him another week off. With all the drama that's going on with concussions all over the league. Why bring him back? You've got a good replacement there, and you probably not really looking to win this year too much. So
Tomlin's always looking to win. You can't say that about Mike Tomlin.
Yeah, no, look, he definitely is. He always is looking to win. I think he's just got that culture, but it's not like they're in the, it's win or lose the next game. It's not going to define their season, right? So I wouldn't rush him back. Hopefully, maybe give another week, and then the draw softens up a little bit. I think they've got a hard couple of games left, and it gets a bit easier. So, might do them a lot of good. Get have a bit of time to refresh and come back.
And Carson Wentz, he's out now 4 to 6 weeks. We're going to see Tyler Heineke apparently. Would have loved to see Sam Howell. Maybe not loved because I don't have any shares yet, so maybe I can try and get some now. I remember back in the day when Sam Howell was being mocked in the first overall.
Long time ago. Long time ago. I think Nuno was saying he's he was listed as the QB2 on the depth chart there somehow. So you never know. But yeah, look, I heard it was Heineke. I've been a bit out of touch with the NFL today just because I dropped the kids off at the zoo and been at work, and I've just been out all day. I haven't had a chance to look at anything. So I'm not sure if that's locked in or yet or not. But it looks like it's going to be Heineke, right? But yeah,
That's everything I'm hearing from my sources being the internet. I have no sources of my own.
You're not connected with the insiders there at the Commanders. Dan Snyder, you haven't got his personal number.
I don't have anything in common with Dan Snyder. All right, I don't know if you do, but I do not.
No, I don't. Did you see his letter he actually wrote to the owner? Someone released it, and he said, "Oh, I've got to challenge this, and I haven't hired a private investigator, and I'm not trying to do." I'm like, "Of course you're going to say that. What are you going to? You got me. Hands up. You got me." So who knows? Wait and see what happens. But yeah, I don't have anything in common with Dan Snyder, thankfully.
Do you know anybody who does?
No.
We don't play in any leagues with any of them? No.
I won't cast those aspersions on anyone.
And look, we already talked about Hopkins, but Robbie Anderson got traded to the Cardinals from the Panthers after that really strange sideline interaction over the weekend. The Monday in Australia, the Sunday in America. Do you think he's going to do anything there?
I really like Robbie Anderson, but he's just so hot and cold, right? And you just didn't know with Baker. They had that little falling out, little spat hooking up at Carolina, and just didn't seem to gel, right? So I don't know if that's an Anderson thing or a Baker thing. He's certainly talented enough, right? He's just streaky. So if he can twig with Kyler, probably a good situation to be in. He's got all the talent in the world, but just probably is worth chucking a trade out there. He's not going to cost you a lot, is he? Really? And he could probably win you a couple of weeks if he catches fire. So
yeah, if he catches fire, but he's going to be the wide receiver 3 when Hollywood's back. I guess the fantasy regular season's probably over by then, right?
Could be the wide receiver 4, right? Too. You run that ball there as well. So yeah, a lot of mouths to feed. Plus you got Ertz too. So yeah, I wouldn't be giving up much. Maybe you can get him for 3rd. Yeah, you're definitely not paying a 2nd for him, right?
No way.
Yeah.
J.K. Dobbins' knee has tightened up in the game. He didn't go back in the game after the knee tightened up. Look, you and I both love Dobbins coming out. I think we expected a slow start for Dobbins, but we're still pretty bullish on him long term. How are you feeling now? Would you?
Look, to be honest, I'm
you buying still?
I'm still buying. I'm feeling a bit foolish because I know you were a little bit more cautious than me. I was sort of wasn't trying to hear it. I was just trying to hear that he'd be back to himself straight away, but hasn't turned out that way. So yeah, still buying. But it's not good to see, is it? I guess it's just part of the recovery that these things are going to happen. Players aren't machines; they're humans, and it's not always going to go to plan. So hopefully, it's long term is okay. But yeah, probably it's not going to be that useful for the rest of this year. Looks like, or it's going to be up and down. To maybe towards the second part of the year. But yeah, Kenyon Drake beasted. Like he scored like 22 PPR points, something like that. So could have been our boy, but yeah, still buying.
You gotta. Yeah. Look, I mean, I don't know what you would pay though. I don't know if you couldn't pay a 23 first for him right now, could you? Not even if you knew it was going to be 112. I don't think you'd pay it.
No, there's other plays you can make, right? There's other plays you can make. You could get a lot for that. Probably more when you're on the clock. So yeah, I think I could play a 23 first. Second, maybe 2 seconds. I might look at doing that.
Yeah, I reckon you could go for 2 seconds right now. People might be worried about him.
Still in a good situation, right?
Yeah, he's still in a good situation. He's still young-ish. Let's hope it comes together for him, because I've traded twice now for Javonte Williams since he got hurt, and he had the similar injury with the ACL and the LCL, I believe. So
There's two. I can't remember which one, but even Akers, even though it hasn't worked out for Akers, but you can see what his value was in the off season when he was on the train. Like, even though he didn't do it yet, he was back to being that top end RB almost in value. So even if Javonte doesn't, even if you're not a believer, just to see him on highlight tapes running and whatnot, that's probably enough to get to increase that value's going to go up, right? It's not going to go down. So
I am a believer. I thought Javonte would end the season as like the RB1. But obviously that's going to happen now.
I think we had him as our Dynasty RB3, right, with Taylor, Swift, and then Javonte. So I think we're both in on him, but you can't do victory laps or non on injuries. It is what it is, right? Happen to anyone. So yeah,
can't win them all.
Can't win them all, but I think you can still get your money back on Javonte. Well and truly.
Yeah. You'd be looking to make that flip when the hype starts. You wouldn't be hoping that he's.
No, I would probably hold him because I believe in him. But I'm saying if you don't, maybe you don't believe in Javonte. Maybe like it's going to be a timeshare, and I've never been believed. You can still buy him because there's people that do. There's a lot of truthers out there that really value him as that Dynasty RB 1 or 2, almost, maybe probably 3 now. So yeah, either way, it's just a no-brainer to go get him.
Melvin Gordon benched. Do we care? Are we worried?
Yeah, I had a couple of shares. I got him for nothing, and I thought he'd be useful for the rest of the season. But just with everything that's going on there, it's just messy, isn't it? Russell Wilson's looking ordinary. The whole side's looking pretty good. Defense is playing all right. A couple of youngsters are just killing it on defense, but the offensive side of the ball is just looking pretty ordinary. So, bit of a mess over there.
Berrios outscoring Garrett Wilson since Zach's return. Come on, man. Who cares about that? Stop trolling.
You don't care? I just
don't
saw
care.
Someone was tweeting out there. I think a couple of weeks ago I was saying I offered a multiple first. I think I offered a first to Rondo Moore and 2 firsts for Wilson and got rejected. I'm going to resend that to Mr. Glover and see if he'll accept now. I know he's probably not going to listen, so it's all good.
You'd still pay the 2 firsts.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping they're late firsts. So yeah, I still believe. I still like it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried. You don't like to see it, but it is what it is. And if that keeps happening, he's going to get a new quarterback soon. So one way or the other, they're going to gel or they're going to replace that quarterback, I think. So not saying they will, but if Berrios is the wide receiver 1 there going forward, then it's not looking good for Zach.
And Friday NFL in 2023. And when you say Friday NFL, you mean one game, one Black Friday game.
We'll take it. We'll take it. A Friday. Let's call it a Friday. Yay, Friday. NFL game. So Saturday for us, which is just like we're loving that. Hopefully it's a massive success and just one a week. Just give us one game a week, guys. Just think of your Australian brethren down here, and that's all we ask for. Thursday night has been terrible. The Thursday night games, they should just bury that and never mention it again. I have just watched too much terrible Thursday night football. So here's your excuse to punt it and play a safety.
But is one extra day even enough? I would go to the extent of Saturday games, which I know they wouldn't want to do because they'd be going against college.
even better for us. I just want something on the weekends. I just want some weekend games. I think is it week 16 or week 17? We get a couple on the Saturday, which is Sunday for us. But yeah, in season it'd be nice just to.
And people are going to watch what they want to watch, right? Like, I would be utilizing Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday to play the games.
There's
Or
so many platforms to watch now
utilize the
too,
Friday.
Right?
If you play on, a Friday, then your next game you have on a Monday. Like, just, I don't know. Somebody smarter than me is going to figure it out. But utilize and one thing, like I think for player safety as well with this 17-game season, and there's even talk of going to an 18-game season, wasn't there? Soon after the 17 got stood up.
Scrap the preseason and go straight to the 18 game they were talking about. Yeah,
I'd love to see a split round where half the league is basically on bye, right? So middle round, you're not on bye because you technically play a game that week, right? But it's a split round, so your week, I don't know, 9, 10, whatever, is split between 2 weeks, with half the teams playing one week, half the teams playing the other week.
Yep, I love that too because you're getting that extended, longer break, right? I think the NRL does something similar. It's not a split round, but they a couple of rounds where they bench half the sides is like 4 or 5 sides playing each round. They do play that around the state of origin time, so the best players don't get a rest. But look, that for the NFL, that's great because you're still getting your games. Like, it's hard to watch all those games, so you're still getting your 4 or 5 games on that weekend, but giving the players a real good go to rest. That's great. If the ultimate result is more football, that's a win-win, right?
Those Thursday games are terrible. Imagine playing a game on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you got to front up again on Thursday.
Yeah, and Russell Wilson's throwing you intercepts from the 1 yard line. Like, it's one thing.
What's happened to Russell Wilson, mate? Man, that's just.
Look, the only thing I can say is that it's got to be Hackett. I think it's just whatever it is. Him and Pete Carroll had something going good. They had the mojo going, and it just hasn't gelled with Hackett. I still think he can turn it around. Let's talk about the injury and whatnot, but he looked so good in the first half, and then they made some adjustments, and he was a different player in the second half. So I don't know if it's confidence, I don't know if it's scheme, I don't know what it is, but it's just something's got to change there because it's not going to be Russell Wilson, right? Like, he got the money, he got the deal, so put your money on Hackett to be the next.
It's a big deal too, and it's a big deal, and he's looked terrible. And
he's had little flashes of like scampers and a couple of, I think, when he threw that 30-yard pass to Jerry Jeudy, it was like we're doing somersaults because that's the best thing he's done since you left the Seahawks, and that's not what you're giving up multiple picks for and big dollars. So I think he can turn it around, but I think Hackett might need to go for that to happen because it's just not working there at all.
And last thing in the news, Tua cleared to play.
Yeah, he was cleared to play before the last game in Miami, according to Pro Football.
So is there any assurance that he's going to play this week?
No, I don't think it's locked in yet. As I said, I haven't been on the Twitter sphere the last probably 12 hours just because of getting hammered at work and back from the zoo and whatnot. And I didn't get in the train. I drove as well, which is always a fantastic thing to do in Sydney. Highly recommend it. Not. So I don't know if he's locked into play, but he was actually cleared to play last week and he could have played. But, obviously they've been a bit cautious now that they've completely stuffed that situation up. Now they're trying to be cautious. So I think he probably plays, but wait and see.
And now we're going to move on to the players we want to talk about, not the players where there's news and information. First thing here, Breece Hall is coming on strong. I think it's, what is it, 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row now. Smashing it, 21 years old, rushing the ball, catching passes. Brees Hall is your Dynasty RB what?
Can he be the RB1 yet already? He's close. He's close to it. He's the 1A or 1B, I think. I think he's got to be close to it.
Well, you don't get to draft a 1A. If a 1B is technically your second, because you don't get both of them, right? So is he would you take him over JT right now?
I couldn't, if I had JT, I couldn't trade him for Brees Hall straight up. But if I'm on the clock in a startup and I'm looking at that, less tread on the tires, he's got the youth on his side. He's actually healthy. JT, we don't know. So it wouldn't be crazy if you're in a startup right now on the clock and, you're sitting there and you had both of them on the available that you'd pick Brees Hall. I think in our projections, we both did Jets projections, and when we're doing them, like I had to check mine because I'm like, this guy's he's going to get so many catches, he's going to get so much work, and I think we both thought that the way the Jets are drafted, that they might run the ball more, and it's certainly he's got that work. I actually haven't seen whether they have run the ball more or not, but it just looked like that. So the point I'm trying to say is we both were massive on Brees Hall pre-season, and he's worked his way into it. So I still got JT ahead of him. I guess I still got JT ahead of him just because of the O-line, and we've seen it for a long time with JT. I think this is the first little spell he's had where he's missed games, and I think anyone at that position can miss games, right? So I think we can't took him down yet, but yeah, he's in that conversation, right? You can sell it to yourself that he's the RB1 already.
I'll say right now, he's the RB1. The NFL Fantasy Dynasty RB1. And I'll tell you why. Because pass catching. And we play PPR. And targets are worth more than rushes. Right? We all know that. Taylor, the Colts if the Colts don't have a lead, right? Taylor is basically Nick Chubb from the prior 2 years, right? Like a back end RB1, like in that 8 to 10 range, a good RB1, but he's if they're not getting leads, he's not going to get the carries to put up the numbers that he needs because he's not going to catch passes there.
He looked good when he has caught passes, and he can, but with Naheem Hines and that scheme, they're just not letting him catch a lot, which is disappointing. I still think he's a high in RB1. But yeah, I'm almost with you on that Brees Hall JT. I think I've still got JT ahead, but it's close enough.
Look, I think part of the reason they don't use him for the pass catching is that's when they use the opportunity to rest him. So, when you've got someone as talented as Naheem Hines as a pass catcher, why put Taylor out there? I guess part of it is you're not telegraphing the play, right? That's really the reason to put him out there.
Yeah.
But a lot of time, especially on third down, it's going to be a pass anyway.
Yep.
So look, it'll be. I'm sure he'll bounce back, but I would take Hall over Taylor.
Look, we are all ages in Dynasty, right? All of us are, and especially with running backs. Look at Derrick Henry. We just been trying to wash our hands of him for how many years now. So, not saying JT's Derrick Henry, but what's that, 24, 25 months younger, we're saying off air Brees Hall is. So considering all that those carries as well that JT's had, that's a good couple of years. You're sort of resetting your franchise. You'd probably want to, if you got JT, you're probably looking to get something back as well as Brees Hall. But
Yeah,
That's
I
close.
understand wanting something back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely understand wanting something back. But Dynasty moves quickly, man. It just moves quickly.
It does. Yeah,
And
it
you got to
does.
roll with it, or you end up with dead assets on your roster.
Good luck trying to buy Bristol now.
Yeah, you could have. He went for a song in Console Wars before he broke out.
Oh, don't bring it up. That was
Sore spot, right?
all
That's
the
not
players
kind of,
all the players that were shocked for him. I think Jonte Johnson scored like 4 points, and someone scored like negative 3 points. Yeah, I mean it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty ordinary. Daryl Henderson, Khalil Herbert, Jonte Johnson, and some other muppet.
Look, if Montgomery walks and Herbert's the guy in Chicago and Deontay bounces back, maybe there's a world where
it's still a terrible trade. It's not as bad.
but you're threading the needle, right?
You're taking all the risk.
Threading the needle.
Yeah, particularly where you can sit Brees Hall on your taxi squad and not get those points. Like
Herbert's already 24.
Yeah,
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But look, there's a world where maybe it's okay. Maybe I don't know if this reality.
Let's let it play out. There's some RB potential RB ones there with Henderson. You know, with the Akers thing breaking, if that breaks correct, and Deontay's still a target hog. So yeah, you just don't know yet.
Kenneth Walker's season. Yeah, he looked pretty good, didn't he?
Every down back, he looked great. I think. Again, we don't want to do laps on injuries, but you can see it coming with Penny. And I think we were talking about a couple of weeks ago that we thought he's already looking good. So now, after two games now, he's looked good. I think he's that up there with. I mean, he's not the pass catcher that Brees Hall is, but there's not many. We're saying a couple of weeks ago, there's not many every down backs in the NFL. So lock Kenneth Walker into an every down back with a run first offense that Pete Carroll is just going to run that pill, right? So
look, my only concern is I wouldn't be surprised if Pete Carroll still used, mixed in some Travis Homer and some DJ Dallas every once in a while. But
yeah,
I think
it's Will.
And that he's a RB1 the rest of the way, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I'm with you too. I think if Walker performs, he can do what Chris Carson did. But he sort of just on form. He sort of pushed Penny down, didn't he? Because he's playing so well. So if Walker keeps it up, I think Carroll will give him the lion's share. But yeah, they'll still chuck some other muppets in to steal some runs, but still some carries. But yeah, I think he's an RB1 for the rest of the year. Let's lock it in.
And I traded him away prior to this game. We'll talk about that in the trade section. Kyle Pitts or Mark Andrews as the Dynasty tight end 1?
If you're on the clock, you can pick them both, similar to Hall and JT. I saw a Twitter poll, and Andrews was winning it handsomely. So yeah, I think Mark Andrews was winning it handsomely. For what it's worth, who knows these Twitter polls? What people are sometimes people are just voting the wrong thing for fun. But I put it in just to get your take on it. How do you feel and how I feel? But how do you?
It's one thing to put it in a Twitter poll. It's another thing to hit accept on that trade, right? And I mean, he had 1,000 yards in his first season, even though it was a 17-game season. And if it wasn't a 17-game season, you wouldn't have seen 1,000 yards. And I think that would have changed the perception slightly. All right. It would have been 900 or something yards. But there's 6 years difference between Mark Andrews and Kyle Pitts, but I guess I don't know. I mean, are you worried about that at tight end? They're both going to still be playing for a while longer. 5 years. So I mean, that's some mental gymnastics there, right? But look, I'm probably not taking either one. I'm certainly not taking Kyle Pitts at his off-season ADP this off-season that he was. Like, he was still like mid-first round pick, right?
Startup pick, yeah.
Even in Superflex. Yeah. And man, that is horrible if you've made that, pick net. Like you're not going to win your league. At least if you take a quarterback, right, a young quarterback, and they're kind of average, they're still giving you 15 points a game, 16 points a game. They're still an every week starter, right? If you take even like Justin Fields, like he was going in the second round of startups this offseason, and he's been like terrible in real life, but he's had games with 17 fantasy points, 20 fantasy points. Like,
I think he scored 24 last week and could have been 30 if Mooney gets that last touchdown. So yeah, I hear what you're putting out. Yeah,
so those young quarterbacks are still getting you points while you're waiting for them to become good players, right? They're still every week starters. Kyle Pitts, you can't start him right now.
Yeah. I guess it all depends, like you say, what you pay. Like if you got that startup first rounder, I don't know if you know this. I probably haven't mentioned it before, but I did draft him in a Devy league. I'm just kidding.
Really?
I've brought it up 6,000 times. It's a bit now. I've got to bring it up every time we mention him. I've got to bring it up. Just kidding. But yeah, look, I've still got Kyle Pitts ahead of Andrews in Dynasty, but that's because I don't like to win. If you like to win, you just take Mark Andrews and win the league, probably, really. But most chances, most times you probably paid a fortune to get Pitts, or at least a very early first, right? At least, and you can get that back and more, I think, if you're patient, for every reason that you just said. Plus, I think Andrews' ceiling is capped a little bit, as funny as it might sound with Lamar, just because they're not going to throw. They're in a run-first offense, and he's not going to throw the ball 6,000 times. Well, we don't know what it's going to look like with Pitts next year, right? Who can be the QB? It could be Stroud. It could be Bryce Young.
They're not really a run-first offense at the moment, though. They're passing the ball a lot more. I don't know. I was worried about Andrews last offseason. And I wrote an article saying sell Mark Andrews, so I'm an idiot.
Put yourself into fantasy receipts, mate. You gotta self some.
But if Bateman keeps getting better, maybe life does get harder for Mark Andrews. But I can't say it at the moment. The guy's just, he's smashing it.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. If you'd like to win, take Mark Andrews. But if you're trying to build that value, the answer is Kyle Pitts, because Andrews is not going to go up in price, but Pitts can bounce back pretty quickly.
All Pitts needs is one monster game, and that dynasty value is just all back up again. But I don't really think anyone who has him is trading him.
Yeah, I'm not. I've got a pretty good offer for him. Someone offered me a really fair offer, and I really thought about it, but I think I don't have many shares of Kyle Pitts, so I couldn't.
But it's hard as well, right? When let's be honest, you draft the guy as a Devy, and you hold him all the way through up until the NFL, and his value is that high, right? You don't want to trade him.
It's an emotional thing for me. I just believe coming in. It's not like I found a guy, right? Other guys pointed him out. I'm just starting to watch him. Like, yeah, he is such a talent. He's such a mismatch. He's going to beast it. So it's more like, I think we don't always play to win, right? We don't always play to cash in. Sometimes you just want to play for fun and keep, So I think in one league, the same league, I got Luther Bird. I think I'll never sell Luther Bird, but he might not even make it in the NFL.
Luther Bird was Luther Burden was, I think it was Devi Kane's sell on the Devi Marketplace.
Yeah,
podcast.
Yeah, it could be. He hasn't looked that great, and there's talks of him leaving. I think he stripped his Twitter or his Instagram, and he came out since and said, "Oh, look, I'm here long term, but don't believe everything. I'm going to stay here." But you just don't know. But yeah, some of these guys, you get that emotional attachment. You just want them on your team, or I do anyway. So might not be the smartest way to approach it, but we're here to have fun, not to just. It's not just an exercise of always winning. You want to have a bit of fun too. So I think I probably would never sell Luther. I don't think I'd sell Kyle Pitts in that league too, just because I did, have that. You get emotionally attached to these players, right?
I think it's a mistake to say you never sell anyone.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not never sell.
I understand if there are places where you've only got 1 or 2 shares. Saying it, but the aim of the game is to win and to win, right? And if you win the league 1 year, right, in most leagues, that's paid for the league for the next 5 years.
Yeah, look, that 100%. I understand what you're saying. Probably just because I got him as a Devi, that I got that attachment, and it definitely is a mistake to say you'd never sell. But that's why I think he's my only share of Pitts. I think that's the only share I've got of him. I think so. It's probably why I'm holding. The offer I got from him, it was a good offer. It wasn't a Godfather offer. It wasn't the 3 firsts that you could get from in the past. So yeah, it definitely is a mistake. You're right to say never sell, but I don't think I'd need a massive offer to sell him. And same as Luther Bird. Then I don't think I think his teammates outscoring him now. I can't remember his name, Luther, but
you're not going to trade Kyle Pitts in a fair trade, right? You're just not going to do it. You're going to trade Kyle Pitts in a trade where, like, they look at the other bloke and they go, "What are you doing, you idiot?"
Yeah,
that's really the only scenario you're going to be trading Kyle Pitts.
I think the other thing is too, right? Yeah, no, I agree 100% with what you say there. Yep. But the other thing too is you don't want to be like the guy in Console Wars who traded Bruce Hall just before he had those massive breakout games.
Let's hope we've bagged on him a lot the last couple of weeks, mate.
He could win the league. Like we bagged with someone before and they won the league. So you never know. Another person. But I'm just saying that is frustrating to sell someone and see him break out like that. That's not a good feeling.
What is the aim of the game?
Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
100%. That's what I'm saying with Pitts or Andrews. If you want to win, just take Andrews and win the league.
Yeah. Look, I completely get it. I had a share. I don't have one share, Kyle Pitts, because I just can't get myself take a tight end.
I think it's
that high in a startup. Because we play Superflex. I like to just smash quarterback and then hope I don't need to think about it. But
I think we're both the same there, yeah.
It just, just on the whole Devi discussion, people get so attached to their Devis. Like they'll have a stud player in the NFL and he'll get hurt and they'll try, if they're competing, they'll trade him like that. But their Devis, they just, I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like people have a hard time trading their Devis more than even if you drafted the same player as a rookie pick. All right, they just I don't know what it is.
I think we just want to be right.
Phenomenon.
I think we just want to be right, and you do get attached to these players. You do your little homework, and you watch other people's Twitter clips and watch the 24/7 and whatnot. So it's not like we're right at that really, but you do get an emotional attachment, and you just want to be right. So yeah.
This is something I touched up here. What's happened to Elijah Moore? Like you mentioned Garrett Wilson. I mean, at least he's had one big game, and he's a rookie. I mean, I've read it multiple times. There's a period of time last year between I think week 7 and week 13 where Elijah Moore was the Dynasty wide receiver 3 over those 5 or 6 weeks, and he has just done nothing.
Zach, Zach Wilson's happened. Yeah, look, I'm not sure what's happened. I've got to watch some more 22 on the Jets to see, what has been happening with him. If he's getting open, what it is, he's just getting missed. What it is. I still believe. I think I liked what I saw from Wilson, and the fact that he didn't turn the ball over. They won the game, right? Not from a fan perspective, you probably don't like it, but long term, getting that win is probably better than him, throwing for 325 yards with 2 interceptions and losing the game, right? So I think possibly, I still got to watch it all 22, but I think maybe he's just been kept on a short leash and he's just following the coach's orders, taking those easy yards and playing to the team's strengths, and maybe that keeps him in the NFL a couple of years longer than what he would be otherwise if he was slinging it. So if you win it, right, it's hard to get rid of you. You go to Green Bay and win.
And look, that wide receiver corps is pretty deep, right? You got Corey Davis, you got Garrett Wilson, you got Elijah Moore. It's a deep
He's
room.
handy, Barris. He's handy.
Yeah. Conklin's been playing pretty well.
Had a down week last week. He hasn't been playing good. I think he's tight end one, right?
Yeah.
Until last week. So he's
it looks like he's also dropped off. It looks like he's dropped off as well with Wilson. But I mean, Zach Wilson played with Elijah Moore last year, and Moore averaged 7 targets a game. Whoa.
Yeah.
What was that? I had ESPN up and something was playing. Can you hear it?
Did come through. So yeah.
Ah, good. Okay. Then nothing happened with us. Nothing happened at all. Yeah. Look, what would you be looking to find? Would you be looking to buy Elijah Wilson? Elijah Wilson, Elijah Moore. What am I fucking talking about?
We're talking like it's 4 a.m. We're talking like it's 4 a.m. Mr. Panks. It's almost 10 p.m. here in Australia. Look, if I can buy a discount, I am, because I still believe in the talent. I like the outlet they got, and like I said, maybe Zach Wilson's on a short leash, and they start. If he, a few more wins, maybe he can sling it around a little bit more. I don't know how long of a short leash you can keep that type of player on. So if I'm getting a discount, I'm buying him, but I'm not feeling good about it because there's a lot of mouths to feed there, and Garrett Wilson's probably the alpha there. So
I'd probably I'd send, if I thought a pick was going to be like 2.05 2023, 2.05, 2.04 to 2.06, I'd probably send an instant. I'm a bit hesitant to change it to trade a 2.01 or 2.01 to 2.02. I think there's going to be a quarterback there in that spot that I'm going to want to take.
Jalen Hurts, sort of. That's you get Jalen Hurts.
That quarterback that everybody just doesn't want to take. The Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, kind of guy that was going end of the first, start of the second.
Yeah.
So I don't want to trade.
That's smart. I like that. Yeah, I think if I had the 205, 206, I knew it. I'd trade that for Elijah Moore for sure.
Yeah, easy peasy, I reckon. Now these are two guys they're having really good years, and I don't think there's been that much talk about them. Maybe I've missed it. But Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs, both from the 2019 draft class, both have had their ups and downs after really promising rookie years. The last 2 years have been kind of met for both of them. Sanders has carried the ball at a good clip though, and whereas Jacobs has struggled in that regard. But both are free agents as well at the end of the year. There was talk of Josh Jacobs losing his job to Zamir White. That seems ridiculous now, doesn't it?
I think there was talk about both of them losing their jobs too, right? I can't remember is it Kenneth Gamble at Philly? He was looking good in the 2-minute drills. He was getting all the snaps in the 2-minute drills at one stage. So yeah, both of them they were. I don't know, for some reason, for whatever reason, it could just be a me thing, but I never really believed in Josh Jacobs. I just thought he was he was going to get the carries there. He was going to be relevant. And Sanders, I thought, probably because I'd bought him in a couple of leagues and he didn't perform. I just thought he was gone. So yeah, this is a good idea. Why sometimes it's good to have a bit of belief, bit of take. Like I know what you want to call it a bit of patience, but they're both playing well. And you probably, if you bought them in the off season, you probably made a steal for what you would have paid for them.
If you have them, you've probably got a good team, I would think, because you either bought them cheap, right? Drafted them in a startup at value, right? And if you've hit on your earlier guys, then with these guys, you're probably smashing, right? You would think in most cases.
He's almost back to that top end value, isn't he, Sanders? Like at one stage, he was such a darling that he was up there as the.
I remember taking him in the
2 or 3, wasn't he?
I remember taking him in the second round of a startup.
Yeah, he was just, the height was unbelievable, and he was looking pretty good, especially catching the ball. He was looking great. So yeah, definitely fell off. So yeah, you probably, if you got him this off season, you would have picked him up late, and you're looking good. And same as Josh Jacobs, if that's your RB 1 and 2, you probably got a ton of wide receiver, tight end, QB talent, and you probably win in that league. So,
but the thing is, what would you trade them for? Like what is their price? If I'm looking in the Dynasty trade calculator, Sanders hasn't even come up to the value of a late 23 first. And I don't think anybody would pay a 23 first for him.
Yeah, I think if you can get that, you got to just cash out. But yeah, you probably can't.
Cash out? I mean, these guys are having legit RB1 seasons. Cashing out might be.
If you get a first, you might be able to. You want that first. You can't sell for less than a first. You can't.
But can you sell for a first? I don't think you can sell for a first if you're contending.
Not if you're contending. Why? You just don't. You don't. If you're contending, you don't care about value. Just don't get trapped in that value game. If you're, I'm not saying you sell. You got Breece Hall. You sell him for Derrick Henry and Deontay Johnson or some whatever. Don't do that. But just don't. If these guys are performing, don't cash out. Just hold them is what I'd be doing. So yeah, if I'm winning and I've got these two guys, I'll die on my squad.
What if you're not winning? What do you like? Josh Jacobs is him and a late 23 first is exactly the same value, 19. Sanders is 15.5. That's not even a late first. I'm sitting there saying, no, you couldn't get a 23 first for Sanders or Jacobs. But if the team's contending, if you're hot in contention and your pick's going to be 110 to 112, why wouldn't you make that trade and make your team stronger?
Yeah, it's for exactly what I said. Who cares about value? Yeah. Give you first. Doesn't matter, like they could get injured next week, but you can't live in that world, right? You can't live in your fears. You've got to go get those guys.
These guys could have another 2 or 3 good years left.
They could both outscore DeAndre Swift for the next 2 or 3 years, because even though we both believe in Swift more, he's got Jamal Williams split in the backfield, and he's always injured. Where these both of these guys, especially I think Jacobs, for whatever reason, in my mind, he just seems to be a little bit more solid, maybe, than Sanders. So yeah, I would do that both ways. If I win now, I'd be buying Josh Jacobs for that first, and if I'm not winning out, I'm rebuilding, and someone offers me any first for Josh Jacobs or Sanders, I think I'd take it. You get those potential points.
Jacobs is only 24. He's only 24 years old.
Yeah, look, I think you just don't know how it's going to play out there. That's the only thing, right? He's off season after this year, so you just don't know. I think they've paid Adams and they paid Waller as well, right?
Yep.
So that's the only question. But we've been saying that with Aaron Jones, right? Aaron Jones was supposed to sell 2 years ago because his contract was up, and he's been fine the last 2 years. So, yeah, I think that's if I'm win now, I keep or buy. If I'm if I'm rebuilding, if I can get a first try of these guys, I'm not trying to squeeze for that first and second. I think that can be just a bit. You can be trapped there. If I can get a first, it's enough.
And speaking of trades that come around and go around, we are in a league together. A couple of years ago in this league, I just won the league. Wanted to go for it again to win the league. C-Mac gets hurt. I trade the lovely doormat here, C-Mac, for, do you remember?
I flipped C-Mac, but I can't remember what you traded before.
So I traded you C-Mac for Josh Jacobs and Deontay Johnson.
Was that Kraken?
No, that was Aussie Guys 5.
Ah, Aussie Guys 5. Yes, try to forget that league.
Then you traded C-Mac for Saquon.
Yeah. I was trying to get that Trevor Lawrence 101. So I think one of them was injured, and I wanted those points, those Saquon points off my. Like he was injured, so I just traded him straight up to get those potential points, and I got myself Lawrence. I don't know if it was worth it or not, but felt pretty good at the time. But yeah, no, I do remember that one.
Yeah, and look, that trade didn't look great for me the past 2 years, but it's looking pretty good right now.
It's looking pretty good now. Not looking too bad for me either with getting Saquon. It was after
that worked out for you.
I think
I'm smashing that lead, by the way.
But you are, but you haven't played me in the finals yet, so
you got to make the finals.
Yeah, I think I'm close. I think I was looking good, and then I think G pipped me by like 4 points. I scored 307, which is pretty good. That's a winnable score, and I think he got 311. Some cornerback scored 700 points for him.
My points for is 2,540. The next closest team's 2,277.
Look, you're definitely beast in that league. I come in as a poor orphan in that league. I rebuild.
I'm 6-0.
I rebuild. I do recall another league that we were in where you were 6-0, and I came in as a poor orphan. That
let's not talk about that.
I think I knocked you out of the very final.
Let's just move on.
That league too. So history repeats. No, that I think that IDP league you've definitely got a strong side there. No one's beaten you that league. So
my all play percentage in this league is 96%. So
stop roster baiting, mate. Stop it.
That's ridiculous. I didn't realize how good this team was. Anyway,
there's nothing better. I think I regularly do the same in the Duffy League. I think I'm 6-0. I've got the most potential points, the most points for. I've got the highest ever record score. So you got to enjoy it because it all comes crashing down pretty quick. Sometimes you just get an injury and someone else has a big week. And that's it. So
I don't have 2 quarterbacks in that league. Sorry, I don't have 3 quarterbacks. I got 2 quarterbacks. I have 3.
Aussie Guys 5.
Yeah, mate. But you know what? What does it mean? What does it mean? Right? The boys. I don't know, you handsome rooster. Sorry.
The 2 QBs. It doesn't mean 3 QBs. Doesn't mean as much in IDP, right? You can. These deep, but that's a 24. You're starting 13 IDPs and only 11 offensive players in that league, right? It's like you're starting more IDPs than an offensive players too. So I think that's the league you can get away with those 2 quarterbacks because you can you can nurse one, on bye weeks or a couple of injuries. You can.
Well, there was one league where I had 4 quarterbacks, right? 4 starting quarterbacks at the start of the year. Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz, and Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Guess what I'm down to?
We've all got those stories.
Josh Allen. Guess who has a bye this week?
Josh Allen. I think I'm something similar in the Sacramento IDP. I went QB Extreme, and I think I drafted 6 quarterbacks, and I had a whole bunch on taxi squad. I brought up Trey Lance, got injured. Brought up Tua, got injured. Brought up Zach Wilson, got injured. Goff had his bye last week. So yeah, it's you never know. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw. You can't predict these things.
We got a question here from Sean Davis. Do I cut Dalton Schultz?
Not Dynasty.
Well, we're a Dynasty fantasy football podcast, so if you're playing in a league where he's cuttable, it's probably a problem.
Yeah.
Like you should have like 25 roster spots, and
I would think cut anyone.
Yeah.
I'm still rostering Julian Edelman. It sounds like not really,
but I mean, he's been what I thought he was, which is crap. So I was never on the Dalton Schultz bandwagon. Very proud of that fact.
Redraft, you can
he's ass. Get rid of him.
But Dynasty, in Dynasty, you got to hold him. He can come back.
Yeah, you got to hold him in Dynasty. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. All right, so we are not selling Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs if we're contending, and we would pay a late first for them if we were contending because it would make our team stronger down the stretch.
Who can just forget about value? Just win.
Yeah, they're still young, so let's go.
Yeah,
let's move on. Ramondre Stevenson and RB1 the rest of the way.
Lock it in. Done.
Lock it in
until
so
Harris
saying
gets
is
back.
Damian Harris is trash.
Until Harris gets back, and even then, he's going to be borderline. I don't think he's trash. I just think Ramondre was always taking over. He just looks so good catching the ball, running those wheel routes, and now that he's getting those carries as well. Bill does love his running back committee, but I think it's definitely at least till Harris is back, he's RB1.
Look, I agree with you. He's looked really good. And what would you pay to acquire him?
You got to give a first. You can't get him for less than a first. You got to give at least a first, probably a first plus, really, to get him. I wouldn't pay a first plus, but that's what you got to. At least a 23 first.
I'd probably try to get him for a 24 first.
It's probably a good price to get him for. I wouldn't sell him for that, I don't think. But if you can get him for that, that's a win. If you can buy him for 24 first, but I wouldn't sell him for that. I offered 2 seconds before he broke out when Harris was still healthy, and I couldn't get him. So now that he's done it, he's got those carries and he's bossed. You probably need a first or second to get him, I think.
Yeah, it'd be hard. It'd be tough. And look, our final thing. Actually, it's not our final thing. Jerry Jones versus Robert Kraft in a fist fight.
It's Jerry.
Is that going to happen?
Jerry's dusted him up.
Why Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft?
So apparently Jones dropped a couple of F-bombs on him and told him to back off in their last owners meeting. He was up in his face and giving it to Mr. Kraft. So I love myself, Mr. Kraft, Patriots fan, but also love Jerry. I think Jerry would handle him with one hand behind his back. I think Kraft's a bit of a lover, not a fighter. So that's my take on it. Whether we'll get to see that, I don't think, maybe a charity boxing match.
Definitely
might be good.
Looking at his new missus.
Still well.
He is doing very well.
I'm sure she married him for his personality.
Sparkling personality. And so have you made any trades this week?
No, I haven't made any trades. I nearly did. I got a good offer. An almost great offer. So I was offered Breece Hall and Hockenson for Kyle Pitts and Treylon Burks. I don't know if you know this, Ben, but I actually drafted Kyle Pitts as a Devi in this league. He's going to reach out and deck. He's probably going to cut me off. He's like, just end the broadcast now. No, this is a really good offer. So you sent me this one. It's in a Devi league. I think I was 5-0. I lost this week, or maybe I was 4-1. I don't know. We've got a pretty good side. I got Jamar Chase and Jefferson and Sid Lamb and Luther Burden and whatnot. So I've got a pretty good side, but they're pretty young. I got Swift and Taylor and whatnot. And I was really tempted. I really was tempted to just say yes because I do like Hall so much. Rockison too, but and probably the smart play would have been just to take it. But I am emotionally attached to Pitts. It's my only share.
I understand. We had that conversation.
Yeah.
But
it's a good.
I offered that because I thought that was a
good trade.
It was a good opportunity for you to win the league.
This is why you give your best trade first. You give your best trades first. Sometimes, don't you? Like to guys that you know well, and that know what they're doing. I think it's just good just to give them a good trade straight away, and then.
Look, I don't nickel and dime people, right? I don't nickel and dime people. My trading relationships in leagues are important to me. I mean, there was one league where I was trying to get Trey Lance. I threw an offer that, included Trey Lance, and I chucked in Zamir White coming back to me as well, right? And the guy goes, I don't really want to give Zamir White up. Okay, take him out of the deal. Just take him out. Okay, everything, what I sent, that can stay. I'm not going to, I'm trying to get Trey Lance here. I'm not going to let it fall down over Zamir White.
I think that's fine. Yeah, no, I think that's why you give your best offers, just because you had built a relationship. So yeah, for me it was close. Great. And if I had multiple shares of Pitts, I probably would have just said yes, but no, I couldn't.
So you're sure there was no trades that you made prior to this week's games?
No, it's a long time ago, man. I've been all over the zoo and
you were tweeting, you were blowing your horn about this one. Surely you remember.
Tell me, what have I forgotten? There's a lot I've forgotten. It was a long time ago.
Okay. So Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic gave up 2023 round 2 draft pick from Blood, Sugar, Sex, Magic. Yes. The real thing gave up Darnell Mooney.
Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy.
Yeah, I think I was blowing my horn about it. I was just asking the question out there. I think it was good for both sides because this trade, the owners trying to avoid those potential points.
Mm-hmm. I think you've got to worry about that with Darnell Mooney right now.
Well, it is what he scored, like 17, 18 points, dropped a touchdown, so 23 points. Yeah, I was pretty happy to get it, actually. I still believe in Fields and I still believe in Mooney. And I think it's an auction league, that league, right? So it's not like you get to pick the second with that league.
Yeah, but by the same token, the way the dollars are broken up per pick in that auction league, right? That 212 is more valuable than a 212 pick in a ladder draft. Like
yeah, true. There is
comparison dollars.
Yeah, there is both sides of it. I don't think it's going to be the 212 in that league. It's probably the 210 because Lloyd's killing that league. So it's probably the 211, 210, 208, hopefully at least the 208. But I guess it's both sides of the coin. Some leagues have got, I think the guy who got it's got a lot of cash anyways. It's just more cash for him. At the same time too, I do like these auction leagues, but it's nice sometimes just to trade out of them so you can just relax and let Rome burn a little bit.
Oh man,
you don't have to worry about sniping people and those last minute bids and people raging and whatnot. And when you got the Americans on the clock to a different time zone than you, and it just sometimes it is good just to not get into it. It's fun, but can be full on.
I actually made 2 trades in this very same league this week. I gave up Kenneth Walker, Michael Gallup, and Irv Smith. I got back Javonte Williams, Jamison Williams, and Trey McBride. And I'm tanking in this league. I don't want the points. I kind of feel Kenneth Walker and Javonte Williams were similar. I know I'm not going to get Javonte back till next year. And I do anticipate that Kenneth Walker's value is going to rise during that time to probably far exceed Javonte's value. by the time the off season rolls around. But that's a chance I'm going to take because I think Javonte's value will rise during the off season. During the off season, it'll get back up to, not where it was, but in approximation. And then the real prize here was exchanging Michael Gallup for Jamison Williams. And that how that works out is going to depend on whether this trade is a win or a loss for me.
Plus, you get McBride as well, right? You get a young.
Yeah. A shift from Irv Smith, who, look, he hasn't done anything yet, to McBride, who better athletic profile, better production profile, better quarterback, I think, but obviously blocked at the moment by Zach Ertz, who, could be there for a while longer. But promising player. I'm really not good in that league. I'm probably not contending until 2024.
Yeah, so, you're pretty old in that league. That'll happen there, but you've made the decision to rebuild, which is smart. You don't want to be like me in one of our David leagues where I sort of thought I could go one more year, and I probably waited 1 year too long. So it's a smart thing to do sometimes to take those points off your squad. I like it for both sides. I like it for the guy, for Lloyd, who bought those players, because I don't like it because I'm competing against him and he's just made his side a lot stronger. I think there's every chance, that Javonte can be worth more than Walker next year when Javonte's back on the field. Like, the hype's pretty high, so you could be ahead there, could be. But Williams, you got to think, he's got to be ahead of Gallup.
That's a big upgrade, right?
It's a big upgrade.
I mean, it's not a trade Lloyd's making if Javonte's not hurt, even with the slow start Javonte had. Even after the game Kenneth Walker had this week, if there's a healthy Javonte, you're not making that trade, right? Even if he's hasn't turned it around yet, you wouldn't be making that trade.
No, there's no need to yet, right? Because he's still the number one seed and you're making the finals. So, yeah, you wouldn't make it.
And the other trade I made in this same league is, again, to Lloyd. Jacoby Myers and Isaiah Likely for Kadarius Toney and Tommy Tremble. And this is just me, again, wanting to get rid of Jacoby Myers' potential points. And wanting to get, chances on Kadarius Toney, who, I think still has a lot of upside.
Yeah, look, I love Toney coming out. He's one of my guys that I regret not getting every draft for, because I just loved his highlights. Like, he was always injured, but he just looked electric. Hasn't played out for him. I don't think I've got many shares, maybe one share. But Jacoby Myers, I love the guy. He's great for the Patriots, but he's so that wide receiver 3 price range is a steal if you need a wide receiver 3, but he's so replaceable. There's just so many left and right that from week to week you can get a guy so easily. So it's worth a shot, because that potential points could cost you Bijan, right? That's the difference.
You got to bid on him here, right? You don't just get him because you don't just get him because you get the 101. You got to bid on the player.
Yeah, look, a little bit different, but that's the thing that does get you. That gets you more money to bid. So maybe it doesn't get you Bijan, but maybe you outbid someone for someone else. So in a normal league, probably a little bit clearer that your Raheem Mosterts and Jacoby Myers and whatnot. There's not much value that you can be making out of those. If you can get something for them, you probably move them just to get that high draft pick, because
I'd sell Mostert for a third. I'm going to go put that in Sackmania, and I bet I get no offers.
Offered Ingram and Mostert for a second. Got no bites, but I think Ingram's a sneaky. You got 10 targets and 5 or 6 targets.
Yeah.
So yeah, third fair. Most of that, I think that's fair. I think he's
Well,
still
we've gone
underpriced.
75 minutes. Huh? Sorry.
No, so I think most is still underpriced. I think a third's fair.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna chuck it out there. See if anyone there will give me a third. I'll even give them. I'll package it with Edmonds. I still bet I won't get a third, but I'll put it out there.
Shallow squads that league.
Yeah, for an IDP league, it's not the deepest, right? You
Pretty
don't
shallow,
get that
yeah.
many roster spots. So just before we go, remember the Toilets Titles Patreon. That is $3 per month for the T2T group chat, which is tier 1. Tier 2 is $5 per month. That gets you early access to the waiver wire episodes, entry into the Frankenstein Listener League, and the T2TT group chat. Tier 3 is $7.50 per month, early access to the waiver wire episodes, entry into our Frankenstein Listener League, T2TT group chat, and one-on-one draft advice. Tier 4, $10 per month, get you free entry into Frankenstein, plus everything I just told you, plus one-on-one roster analysis. One-on-one roster analysis. Great for in-season. Right, because you don't really need draft advice right now. And then tier 5 is $20 per month. You get everything that we've already told you about, plus, all right, the big show will do a podcast all on your league. All right, all in your league. Hopefully, your league mates don't listen to it to get any advantages from it, but it'll be on your league.
We're happy to roast him too. I'm sure if you ask Sheps or Justin or one of the IDP guys, the Debbie boys, whatnot, there's someone there you want to roast. You want us to just pan their team. We could probably look after you there as well. So that's a good little bonus there.
That we can. Is there anything you want to say to the people before we go?
Dak's back. I think that's the other thing we didn't cover. Dak's back. So wheels up, Cowboys. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I got offered a trade Dak for 223 firsts, and one of those firsts right now is like the 103. So that's not happening.
It's a hard.
It's a hard no, mate.
Hard decline. Sorry, it's a quick decline. That one, smash decline.
Yeah.
But yeah, week 7, bring it on.
Some bloke on LinkedIn who hasn't replied to an email I sent him 3 days ago has just sent a connection with me. Anyway,
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Is it? Week 7. Like,
Love it.
man, my mind's blown. I feel like the year goes like the year's just going slow, and then football gets here. It's just boom.
Unbelievable.
You know it. Whew. No, I've got nothing else to say. I'm out. Ciao.
Done. Wrap it.
Bye.